Hi everybody, it's Steph here again, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to service a Parker 65. Now the Parker 65 came in three models. They brought out a VP model which had a VP, what they termed as a VP filler. Now I'm not actually going to cover that on this video. This particular model here, this is the Parker 65 Mark II, and what you can see, it's got this this consort cap. We've got the shell here, we've got the nib, we've got a remanufactured connector here, we've got the collector here, we've got the feed which has got the long, it's the long feed. Again, the VP had a short feed, and last but not least we've got the barrel to the end. Now what I've actually done, I've actually dismantled the pen. The clip was slightly bent, so I've taken that off. I've shown you on another video how to take these clips off, so if you want to know, go and have a look at them. So what I've actually done, I've dismantled it, cleaned everything, and it's ready now to be put back together. But before I show you that, let's try and show you the difference between the Mark II and the Mark III. Now one of the ways I've actually seen the difference between the two, in fact what I'll do, this here is a Mark II. Now as with all these pens, apply a little bit of heat to this particular area here, and eventually what will happen, this connector here will unscrew. Now once it unscrews there, inside what you'll find is the collector. Now if I just put that to one side, now if I pick this collector up here, now this one on the left here is the Mark II model, and this one on the right is the Mark III. Now if you look at the end sections there, I'm hoping you'll be able to see the difference between the two. Okay, so there we go. Now hopefully you can see the difference between the two collectors here. This particular one has got two little ridges to each side, and the Mark III here has got the longer ridges. It's sort of like a half moon effect, if you like. Both of these collectors actually screw in as well as screw out, so you've got to be careful, and you've actually got to, well, it does help if you've got the tools to actually remove them. So just to cover it, as I say, this is the Mark II collector, and this is the Mark III. Incidentally, both these collectors I believe you can actually use in both pens, although the shells and the connectors are not interchangeable. Now another way of actually telling the difference between the two shells, now if you actually look at this, whoops-a-daisy, this is a remanufactured one. Now if you look at the thread that connects into the shell, which is the top bit here, on this particular one again, which is the Mark II, the thread is quite fine, whereas the thread on the Mark III is, well, basically it's a coarser thread, if you like. So I'm hoping you can actually see that. There we go, maybe you can see it there. So the Mark III here, the thread here is coarse. The Mark II, the thread is a lot finer. Okay, one of the things you'll find on these particular pens, as this particular one, what they do, they tend to deteriorate here, they rot away, and the whole inside just falls away. So obviously they need replacing. So we'll pop that to one side, and basically that's what happened here. It was actually deteriorated. I had a new one remanufactured, and what you need to do is keep the aluminium piercing tube. And what I've actually done here is I've shellacked the original piercing tube into this remanufactured connector. Okay, so what I'll also do here, as I say, they both apply. So what we do, we simply unscrew the connector, take the collector, sorry, the feed out, and the nib will simply just pull out like so. Now to service the pen and to actually remove the nib on a 75, what you need to do is get a piece of rubber. This particular case, what I do is actually use a tire in a tube, place it on top of the nib and push it backwards, and there we go. Okay, and that's how easy it is to remove the nib. Okay, so that's how we remove the nib. So in a moment what we'll do, we'll show you how we put all the pen back together. Incidentally, just coming back to the feed, although I haven't got the correct tools that Parker actually used, I've actually made my own. These are needle nose pliers which I've actually ground down and squared off, and if I actually pop them into the two ridges like so, okay, so I'm hoping you can see that. So this is my own little tool that I've made. Oops, a daisy. Okay, so what actually happens, the two prongs will sit in the two ridges on the feed there. Okay, you can just see it there. So these two prongs go in, and we simply unscrew the collector. This is one that I use for the Mark III, slightly different. I don't know if you can see, these have been ground down, and they're actually like a half moon shape, okay, for gripping the collector inside. Unfortunately, what happens if you don't use the right tools, you'll ground the collector up, you'll ruin it, and you'll end up having to drill it out. Okay, let's pop this pen back together. So to put the pen back, as I say, it's all been cleaned, so as you can see here, the feed is lovely and clean. So to pop the nib back again, you'll have to excuse me a little, because what I'm going to do is work over the camera. So there's actually two little ridges to each side of the feed, and what I do is pop one side of the nib into the ridge there, and then just simply press down gently, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that's how easy it is to reinstall the nib. Okay, now what we need to do now is we're going to put the collector back into the shell here. But before we do that, the thing that we need to do on the 65s is just around the top edge underneath the feed there. We have to add a sealant, otherwise the pen actually leaks. Now what I actually use is this particular stuff here, which basically it's modelling wax. Now what I actually do, I put it in a little tin like that, and just off camera you can't actually see it, but hopefully you'll be able to hear it. There goes my lighter. So what I actually do is just apply a little bit of heat. Okay, and eventually what will happen is that the wax will literally liquefy there. And there, hopefully you can actually see that it's liquefying. Now the reason I like to do it this way is that once it's liquefied like that, I've got a nice little fine brush here, and what I'll actually do is, again, just bear with me ladies and gentlemen, is apply the wax underneath here. Okay, so again we've got to be a little bit careful, because you've got the ink feed, the ink channel should I say, and what you don't want to do is get the wax in that ink channel. Okay, because if you do, for obvious reasons, it'll stop the ink flow. So what I've done, I've put it on a little bit on the rough side there, but so obviously I'm working over over the top of the camera, so it's a little bit difficult to see what I'm actually doing. So at this point what we'll actually do, as I say, we've applied the wax around the underneath the feed there. We'll install the, there we go, and you can see the wax actually coming out of the ears, but don't worry about that because we'll clean that up in a little while. Now at this point what we need to do is pop the feed back into the shell, and if I get my little tool here and just gently feel away, and I think that's actually grabbed it there, I think, and turn it, and there we go, and we'll just tighten it up a little bit more. Again, you can feel it when it sits in the little pronged, and there we go, that'll do nicely. Okay, so what we've done, we've screwed that into there, Now just got a little bit of tissue. I'll just get rid of some of this excess wax. Again, we'll clean that off a little bit better in a moment. Now what we need to do is pop the connector into the shell here. Now to do that, what we need to do is bring on a little bit of shellac. Okay, if we can get the top off, and what I simply do is just apply a bead of shellac to the thread there. Okay, so we'll pop that to one side for a moment so we don't spill it. And now all we need to do, nice and simply, is screw the connector, and I like to screw it backwards and forwards so it just coats the thread nice and evenly. Okay, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So what we've actually done is we've put the collector back, we've sealed the top there with a little bit of wax, and we've put the nib on, and that's all ready now to be put back on the pen. So just for now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to allow that shellac to dry. Once it's dried, what we'll do, we'll come back, we'll put the ink converter in the pen, and we'll try it out, make sure everything's alright. So just for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just say bye bye for now. Okay, so we're back again. Just one little thing that I forgot to mention. When you're actually dismantling the Parker 65, do not try and unscrew the nib and the feed to pull it out. The reason being, just inside, I'm hoping you can see that there, there's actually a little peg, if you like, that sits into a little recess on the feed. So when it actually goes back, it just simply sits in like so. So do not try and actually unscrewing it, because you'll break the peg and you'll ruin the alignment of the ink, of the feed and the nib. So I just thought I'd point that out. But here we have the pen, ladies and gentlemen, this beautiful sort of in the region of 1967 Parker Consort. It measures approximately 135 millimeters capped, approximately 11 millimeters in diameter, and it comes with this beautiful Consort cap, which has this horizontal and vertical lines. To the bottom of the cap, it actually says Parker, and then if we actually turn it round slightly, okay, I'm hoping you can see that there, it's actually telling us that it's actually 1 in 5 12 karat rolled gold. And if we rotate it to the back there, it tells us it's made in England. Okay, it has the two beautiful sort of translucent grey jewels to the end of the barrel and to the top of the cap there. And if we take the cap off, and again, as we saw in the first part, we've shown you how to put the pen together. As you can see, it's beautifully nice and clean. We've given it a little bit of a polish as well, so it's absolutely superb. And there's the nib, ladies and gentlemen, and the nib actually reads, it's actually got Parker 14 karat and then 585 to the right hand side, and then underneath the little jutting piece that we can't actually see to the bottom of the nib, it actually reads, well, it has England. Okay, so it's an English made pen. Okay, and as you can see, it's got a lovely blob of iridium to the end of the nib there. So as we said before, we've actually restored and serviced the pen. If we take the barrel off here, you can see we've fitted it with a Parker converter there. And what we'll do at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we'll bring on our little pad. What we'll also get is we'll get our bottle of ink here, and nice and simply, I think you're all aware now, all we need to do is press this little bar here a couple of times. So I'll just be quiet for a moment. There you go, you can actually see plenty of bubbles, you can hear the pen actually working. Just wipe it on the bottle a couple of times there, and if I just get a tissue and just give it a little bit of a wipe. We'll replace the barrel to the pen here, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. Okay, so what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a beautiful Parker 65 from approximately 1967, so circa 1967. It writes very, very smoothly, and I would say in this particular instance, I would say it writes with a fine line. Yeah, so there's no sort of flex in the nib. As I say, a fine line. Okay, so there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So we've serviced the pen, everything's sealed, and we've put it all back together, and it's in full working order, and a beautiful, beautiful example. So we put the cap back on, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, this absolutely beautiful Parker 65 in black with a Consort cap and double grey jewels. So we'll pop that back there. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I'm sorry about the first bit being a little bit out of focus in places, but I hope you've enjoyed the video as much as I've enjoyed showing you the pen. And don't be shy, there's plenty more videos on my channel, so go and have a look at them. Don't be shy, leave some comments or any suggestions, whatever. But just for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just simply say bye now.